All right, explain what you're about to do.
So we're going to
for
talk
the
about
audience.
the fabric swatches and how to give an appropriate demonstration on an environment guard. This particular one is resistol, but I'm under the impression that Xylon, a lot of other things have this type of demonstration for the customer.
Well, a lot of people think this is just hyped up crap.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Scotch-guard is the most common misnomer for stuff like resistol.
Yeah, people say, well, why don't you just buy a can of Scotch-guard for $5 as opposed to pay $400 or $500 for a product like this?
Yeah, absolutely. That is kind of a big difference, I think, that customers tend to point out, and we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
So, first and foremost, what you want to do, I think one of the most important things is to make sure you have a big fat stack of these.
And those are dip sticks?
Yeah, they're fabric swatches. We call them dip cards.
Dip cards.
But you can call them whatever you want.
Okay.
But the reality of it is it's just a sheet of fabric that has one side that's protected and the other side that is not protected. And I'm a big fan of playing chess, not checkers, so you want to have a conversation with the customer and be prepared for them to give you an audible.
Okay.
So you always want to keep, at any given point, more than 5 on your desk for reasons we'll get into.
Okay.
So the first thing I like to do with the customer is explain what we have, right? So first and foremost, Steve, what we have here is a fabric swatch. This shows you one side of it is protected with resistol, and of course the other side is unprotected. And actually here, take a hold of that one for us. And Steve, as you can tell, as you're feeling it, do you feel any difference in the sides?
It's a little smoother over here.
But typically not, right? So
there's not a lot of difference.
It's all but not noticeable. One of the things that we want to make sure is that when you're spending $50,000 on a Honda Odyssey, we want to make sure your factory appearance is protected and maintained. So you're not going to feel anything like you would. And altered. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we want to make sure that that's going to be perfect for you.
Okay.
Now what's really cool also is there's no actual smell difference either. As you can see, you don't smell any difference.
Nope.
And for me, to kind of pause it here, this is kind of like an engagement moment with the customer. You can tell if they're engaged with you, feel the difference, smell the difference. It's like the classic get the customer in the trunk of the car, right?
Yep.
So in that sense. And you have 2 basic ways that people train to do this. I'll show you the way that I don't actually like myself, but this is the easiest way to get people engaged in doing it. This is kind of a crawl, walk, run scenario. And what you can see is we have one side that's protected, one side that's not. This one's for you, Steve. Take a feel. Right?
Yep.
Does it feel any different? No.
No.
Does it smell any different?
No.
Right? So what you can see here is on the unprotected side, if we were to pretend, I see you got a book bag with you, probably got a bunch of markers in there, right?
True.
And if this marker were to, God forbid, be open in the seat of your new Honda Accord, what would happen to it?
The marker would go all over the seat.
Right. It would eventually bleed into the seat and unfortunately bleed through.
Oh.
Right, which is a really bad thing for your seat. It makes it extremely hard to get out. But on the protected side here, Steve, you take the marker. Go ahead and grind it in there. Make sure you take it and pretend you're sitting on it. And what you see is even as you're applying pressure, it actually doesn't bleed through. And I don't know about you, Steve, but which seat would you rather have?
The protected seat.
Right, absolutely.
Huh. Very cool.
So there's a couple of ways this goes with customers in my experience. They say, okay, does it come out? And you say to the customer, that's a great question. Right, let's take a look.
It says permanent marker.
Yeah, it is permanent marker. Now, typically with the resistol, it's designed to make this stain release really easily. So with a wet rag, you would take and wipe this up. But great news, if it doesn't come up, we will replace your seat cover for you. No charge on your brand new Honda Accord.
So if I mark my seat with a permanent marker and I can't get it out, you will replace the fabric?
That's right. Yeah. First, we'll attempt to get the stain out for you professionally, but if we can't, we'll go as far as to take and replace the seat cover. Absolutely.
I'll be darned. That's pretty cool.
Right. So there's a couple of things that the customer want to say, and that's kind of why you want to have extras, right? Make sure you have the conversation with the customer in a chess, not checkers kind of way. But my personal favorite is to take some sort of sauce. Every car dealership on the planet has a drawer of ketchup somewhere, as I'm experiencing in my life here in this office here. It was in the break room at the last place I was at. And you can have this conversation with the customer. And I think it's far more impactful to have it like this, right? So you have your fabric swatches. and you give one to the customer, and you say, "Here, Steve, this right here is a fabric swatch. It actually has the resistol that we preload onto all of our vehicles, that we give you that 3 years of coverage on that vehicle." And as you can see, it's a demonstration card. It shows you that one side is protected, one side is not. And as you can feel, do you really feel any difference in between the two?
Nope.
No, there's not really going to be a discernible difference in the application of this product. We want to make sure that your factory finish is unaltered and remains perfect. And the reality is, Steve, is we can't take and prevent stains, but this is going to protect against them, because what we've applied here is resistol, which creates a barrier between you and the seat, and of course the paint and the environment as well. But I want to talk about the fabric on the vehicle. So what we could do is we have our, let's see, it's actually ketchup and water in here, and have a conversation with the customer, build the value, something along the lines of, I'm sure you got kids, you got dogs, whatever forma that you have with your consumer. Steve, you told me you had dogs, right? Well,
Yep.
Can you imagine it gets and swipes the cup holder and your drink gets all over the seat?
It happens.
Right? Or, I know you drive around and drink a lot of coffee. You get up early in the morning,
It
right?
happens.
You imagine if somebody hits their brakes real hard in that Atlanta traffic and stops you. And as you can see, on the side that's protected, Steve, with a simple wipe of a paper towel, we can clean that up. Right, but with the unprotected side, unfortunately, it's already seeped through and has ruined it. I don't know about you, but what seat would you rather have?
That in front of the camera.
So that's kind of the impact statement. We can't prevent stains, but we can protect against them.
Wow.
Right, and that's
So this stuff really works.
yeah, it actually works. It's all in the application process. So whenever we apply it to the car, we vacuum it, brush it in. We spend a lot of time on the interior of the vehicle, because that's where a lot of the claims happen. So we're going to make sure we prevent as much as humanly possible.
So this is just not only going to keep your interior looking better. It's also going to affect your resale value too, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll keep the resale value very high, as the car will look cleaner. But personal satisfaction will be a lot better. I mean, can you imagine having watery ketchup sitting in your seat for the next 6 years while you're paying for it?
No, not at all.
So it's a really great thing. But what's really cool about it too is it's antimicrobial. So even if it does seep into the seat, it won't smell bad, right? Because hot ketchup over time will smell like something very foul.
Yeah.
And this will actually protect against any odors building in the vehicle too.
All right, Alan, thanks for yet another great demonstration on the value of resistol.